And welcome to another edition of What the Fuck Happenings here in Random. Yeah. So I'm gonna play a little bit of a Mystic video and then move on to the usual routine of playing my video. So context. So for years I've been arguing with him, and the argument got kind of contentious because basically he's advocating a philosophy that is the sadist's wet dream. I mean, it's an insanely stupid and ignorant perspective that's just so obnoxious and unintelligent that you just have to want to just, oh fuck, you're wasting billions of neurons coming up with this brilliant theory that there's no difference, okay, between burning a piece of grass, you know, and throwing a cat on a fire. No, there's nothing. There's nothing to see here. It's not an event. You know, humans being irradiated by a nuclear bomb and dying slowly and horribly. Nah, it's just the same. Might as well just have a wedding and get a little drunk. Same difference. Same meaning in the universe. Doesn't mean anything. So torturing sentient beings is not eventful, because the brain manifesting the sensations doesn't care. So therefore, you shouldn't care. Yes, your intelligence shouldn't make note of it, or your awareness shouldn't make you aware of it, because your brain doesn't know. Certainly your calculator doesn't care. Okay, the calculator's not smart enough to know, so it's not worried. It doesn't care whether sentient organisms are being tortured. Nah, it's not a meaningful event in the universe because the calculator says it isn't. You know, you know, it's just so frickin' stupid, especially when you're experiencing it and you can feel the cavern of value difference between feeling good and feeling bad. And it's just insane for me to have the perception that it would be just as preferential if I took 10 years to die or 10 minutes to die. You know, doesn't make any difference. Torture? Nah, it's nothing. It's just a brain function, so who cares? Doesn't take more electricity to make torture or happiness, so because it doesn't take more electricity, how could it matter more? I mean, it's so fucking stupid, and it's just so, you know, when intelligent people are doing this, you know, I mean, all the connivery, all the bullshit, all the wooey nonsense they're contriving to try to make human life meaningful. Oh, we're going to travel through the galaxy and go to our suit, and then we're going to go to a wormhole, and it's going to be so exciting. I mean, all this fairy tale crap, and then somebody with a little bit of capacity to see past all that bullshit sits there and contrives this nonsense that somehow, yeah, it doesn't matter how a sentient organism experiences brain function. Doesn't make any difference. Torture, happiness, same difference. Don't worry about it. Create some torture. It don't matter. You know. And obviously I'm trying to make the argument that the only thing in the universe that does make any sense as a thing to worry about is this commodity of a sensitive creature, a cat, a puppy, doesn't matter what it is, being tortured. It's the thing that is the expense of our existence. It's the thing that forces us to defend our existence. And yeah, there's nothing else we're playing for here on Earth. It's what is decided, whether you're a piece of scum or not, is how much negative you brought with you to the party. You know, how many people you made sick or you made have a bad day. And that's all that's going to matter in the end. You know, the story of this fiasco of the sentient organism on Earth. And it's just going to be about the ones who squandered it and wasted it. They're the villains. And the ones who tried to stop the waste are the heroes. And that's going to be the fact. The morons versus the accurate modelers of our predicament. So I'll play this. This is just this is the worst pile of crap this fucker ever puked out onto the internet. So he'll probably delete these eventually, so I might as well just play it in the video. So he's just been rambling for 16 minutes just talking about how it's just a brain, it's just a brain, it's just a brain doing brain things. So what? Yeah, again, who cares about how many bolts of electricity are moving through the brain? Who cares how much work the brain had to do to make it? We're judging the cake. We don't care how it was baked.
For anybody or
I'm going to have to turn that up. And I'll have to turn that down. Oh, well, it's already pretty long, Gary. Okay, so I can probably get away with that. Let's see how it sounds.
anything. No, because there is no anybody or anything. There are brains, as I've said in the last...
So it doesn't matter. A blade of grass, human being, no distinction, nothing to see here. It really doesn't matter having a brain or not having a brain. It just doesn't make any difference. Your experience or your welfare, what happens, what events transpire, doesn't matter. So if the event of consciousness being tortured transpires, that doesn't mean anything. So, step on a rock, step on a cat, same thing.
Last couple of videos, pretending to be anybody's and anything.
So he's saying you're somehow pretending to believe in a spirit or something because you say, no, I know it's just brain producing it, but it's a one hell of a production. It's an amazing thing it's done. It's created a projector, it's created a screen, and then it's created a me to sit in it and have sensations based on what takes place. What the fuck? Yeah, it's a pretty miraculous function. And I know it's happening because there I am doing it. So don't tell me I don't have the feelings. Don't tell me the manifestation isn't manifesting. Don't tell me I can't see the images fly across the imagination, that I don't react to them, that I don't have thoughts and memories connected to them, blah, blah. No, what's the point of you saying to me it doesn't happen? Of course it does frickin' happen, and it's distinctly different than what's going on when you step on a rock.
Yeah, but it's a pretense. We'll go back to the...
So it's a pretense, a lie, you're faking it. It didn't really hurt. I mean, there's a scene in some movie, where the guy's dropping little robots into a guy's eyeball. It doesn't hurt. And he's going, yeah, it hurt. It's just ridiculous.
Go back another month and go to the illusion word. It's an illusion. Does it?
Who cares? Whatever kind of stupid word you're going to use to say what it is, the fact is it's very effective at manifesting this qualitative experience. And there's just no fucking way I'm going to deny it. There's no way I'm ever going to test your theory, okay, by pretending, I'll go ahead and, whack myself with a hammer or do something, something less damaging, just to cause myself grief and pain. Because, hell, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I could just drill a hole in a couple of teeth. Ooh, fun that would be.
Does it matter if it's an illusion is depressed or not? No. Does it matter if Granny gets shot? No. Does it matter if anything happens? No.
So it's the only thing that matters. Does anything else in the universe matter that doesn't in some way affect something that feels? And the simple argument is, of course not. Nothing else can have a consequence. There's nothing else that can be burned in the fire and tortured. If it can't be tortured and it can't affect something that will be tortured, then it can't mean anything. The only way it can mean something is to make a qualitative, conscious awareness thing take place that's going to be good or bad in terms of how it manifests as a feeling.
Why? There's a why behind it.
There's no why. You don't have any argument. Your argument is it's not real. It isn't really happening. When, of course, it's really happening. Okay, and the quality of it is undeniable because I'm experiencing it, you fucking idiot. You can't fool me, right? I'm actually being a consciousness experiment. And there's no way I'm fooled. I'm not going to be fooled into thinking it doesn't matter whether you pour gasoline on me and slowly burn me to death. Yeah, it matters. It's a fucking happening, brother. What a fucking lunatic.
It's not just a girly philosophy, there's a why behind it.
No, there's no why. You don't have a why except you're running away from reality because you can't handle your impotence in terms of your capacity to do anything about anything. So you're just negating it because you don't have the courage to face the terrible odds of fighting the real fight and being in the war. You're just running the fuck away. You're just saying fuck being a responsible human being. I'll be some fucking asshole who talks absolute shit to lunatics and tells them it's okay to think it doesn't matter if you torture your kids, and it doesn't matter whether you torture your pets, and it doesn't matter if you plot against civilization and try to drive it into the sewer. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I think it does fucking matter. Fucking idiot.
And the why behind it is because it's just a brain in action doing something.
Yeah, so he's just basically saying the brain doing something it didn't accomplish any more than a rock rocking. So a rock rocking is doing something just as impressive as billions of neurons doing all of this stuff, creating this this manifestation. There, I don't know what else to call it. It's a manifestation. I mean, some people call ghost manifestations, right? I mean, but the fact is I'm experiencing it, okay? So, fuck, it's not a drawing of a ghost. It's not a CGI ghost. It is something because I'm experiencing it.
A brain getting shot right through it and exploding and then not doing anything afterwards. Or a brain running away. Or a brain being shot and saying, "Ah!" being in pain, doing an impression of being in pain.
So there he's saying it, you're doing an impression, that somehow the pain isn't horrible and awful, and while your whole system is reacting in this kind of funny, animated way, okay, because you're in pain, it's all just mockable. Because, yeah, it's no different than you just sitting here smiling, going, yeah, it's just a lovely day. Yeah, lovely day.
That's what a brain will be doing. The brain can knock out an impression of pain, no worries at all. Easy. It can do that.
But it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have any significance. It's not significantly different from manifesting a pleasure. There's nothing superior about a brain manifesting pleasure than there is a brain manifesting torment and torture. Same thing, according to the sadistic kook.
It can do everything that it does dead easy.
Well, the sadistic enabler. I don't think he is personally gratified by causing pain, except my pain, of course. Probably does please him in some perverse way. The pain of having to watch intellectuals turn into fucking fairy princesses. Again, you're the one with the name Modern Mystic, motherfucker. You're the one doing the girly frog hat shit. You're the one, shaking the little food dish for your cat. Fuck you.
As I say, it might take a few more extra calories.
So, so that's all it is. Extra calories. just like I said, he knows better in the sense that he's had open heart surgery. I mean, it must have been fucking damn unpleasant for a couple of weeks. And so to talk this shit, it's just such shit.
But it'll do it. No worries. These are little quirks that people have. People don't have them. Brains are just
So what? People don't have them. Brains are just doing it. So again, he's just breaking the connection between the fact that our brain function creates awareness. So that's the happening it's doing. All right. And the fact is we can be aware of the manifestation of these dramatically different sensations. As he's just negating it all and calling us all pieces of cement.
Doing them. Brains aren't even having them. Brains are just doing.
We're mannequins. Might as well just be mannequins in a window. Doesn't matter. Go ahead and rape them in the ass because they're non-feeling. You can't hurt them. So yeah, beat the shit out of them and rape them because what? They're just mannequins. Who cares? I mean, it's such a disgusting philosophy. Go ahead, you know. I mean, whatever your worst desire is, this is the guy to go to be validated, you know, in acting on your most hurtful desires. You know, your desires to do something violent and horrible. Oh, exploit, you know, take advantage, you know, rape a kid and eat it. He'd say it's okay. Oh, no harm. You didn't do anything bad. You didn't hurt anything. There's just nothing to hurt. Just so fucking stupid.
Doing them, these little quirks. A brain is doing this video. A brain is doing the watching of this video. What it does afterwards, it's just be a brain doing whatever it's doing afterwards.
So, if we were unconscious, you know, we're just thinking AI bots and just throwing vocabulary at each other. What would that be? Would that be? How could I make that a lesser event, right? So it's not at all a difference between a computer that just mimics words and says them. No difference. Yeah. Feeling? That doesn't add anything. That doesn't change anything. Feelings are just another word, you know. It doesn't mean anything.
Mattering. Talking about it, whether it matters or not. What is that?
So, yeah, what is that? Is that an observation from my own personal experience that I can't imagine that there's nothing else that's more motivating, more controlling, more obvious, more black and white obvious, more guaranteed, I'm sure of thing I could possibly even imagine than my capacity to see the cavern of value difference between me in pain and me happy. Cavern of value difference.
Girly talk.
That's what he calls it. I mean, you know, it's just all part of this argument. But I mean, you know, even getting into this whole, oh, you know, you have a sissy philosophy, you know, you're just like, you're a double sissy. Yeah. Whatever. Continuing.
A brain pretending that it's a person that cares.
So the fact that the brain manifests this personality that's, you know, on some sort of quest. Okay, yeah, that there's a lot of whatever you want to call that bullshit in it. You know, what motivates people, what drives people, but this essential part of, you know, it's not so much about what makes, whether people like to eat hot dogs or whether they like to eat hamburgers. You know, it's about the fact that their goal is the gratification they're going to gain from whatever it is they're supporting, some stupid sports or some other bullshit. You know, what their stupid quest is completely ridiculable. But the fact that they are stuck in a machine that needs to feel better, that's undeniable truth.
About blah, 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 blah. I'm not knocking it. Because it's just something a brain does.
Whatever. So everything's just something a brain does. So it puts the puzzle pieces together correctly, or it takes a hammer and smashes them into place. Same thing. There's no good thinking, bad thinking. There's no rational and irrational. I mean, this is just such crap.
A brain designing, building a bridge over a huge span. It's the same thing. I'm not...
Same thing as torture. So if you're sitting there writing on a piece of paper, whatever, you know, something, you know, a note to the milkman or whatever, Same thing as being tortured. And same thing as having sex. It's all the same. Everything's the same thing. Doesn't make any difference whether you feel good or feel bad.
Knocking one and bigging up the other. Both are just brains doing something.
Yeah, whatever that means. So it just doesn't mean anything. Yes, we can all do something. And the point is we should do something that doesn't cause torture, not do something that does. I mean, fuck. It's just, I just didn't imagine people were as dumb as they're turning out to be. I just had no... I'm just not prepared for the depth of this depraved, moronic crap.
And in its own way, not caring what it's doing. Because it isn't a thing that cares. It's like a car. It's a tool that just does something. It's built to do.
It's a hammer, and it just hammers, and it doesn't matter whether it hammers kittens or it just hammers rocks. Same difference.
And it does. It's like a car. It's built to do, and it does. The car's a bad example.
It doesn't. Yeah, anything's a bad example because obviously this is a unique event. Being a sentient organism is completely different than everything else. Nothing else is even a little bit like it. Fucking lunatic.
Because people will be wanting to put the driver in, then the driver's the brain. But you see what? Hopefully, you won't. You'll want to maintain being a.
Yeah, no one's making those arguments that there's something other than the brain manifesting the experience of being alive. So what? So it's the brain did it. If something else did it, it would mean something. So if God actually put a consciousness seed in my brain, then you'd be convinced it mattered how I felt. If hobgoblins, we actually saw them on some sort of like radar scope, and the hobgoblins put a little seed of consciousness, and now all of a sudden it does matter what we feel. I mean, fuck you. This is such bullshit. I mean, nobody's arguing that there's some magical thing in your consciousness making you conscious. The argument is yes, it's a function of the brain. Well, it's one hell of a fucking function because I'm fucking experiencing it, you fucking lunatic.
A spirit. And having pains and anguishes. Pains and anguishes will always be because brains are built to manifest.
So even that statement is so ignorant, right? Because we really are, technically getting to a point where, we could almost just plug ourselves in and have a controlling mechanism that did actually control what our brains were doing, and we wouldn't be able to manifest torture or feelings or anything like that. We would just be occupied in something that was just telling happy stories constantly.
Pains and anguishes and troubles and problems and all this sort of stuff. But are they real pains and anguishes?
Yeah, I just, what's the point of me arguing about its reality when I'm experiencing it? You're really going to tell me I'm experiencing it, but what I'm experiencing is completely a fake thing that you are actually experiencing. So the actual experience is in fact fake. Huh? yeah, right. You can't. If it's in the play, it's real. It can't be faked, so to speak.
And real problems, no. How can we tell this? Because it all comes from the brain, and the brain has no problem.
So the brain has no problem. I mean, what the fuck does that even mean? Oh, the device that's manifesting my ability to feel isn't harmed. Therefore, the thing that's experiencing the feelings didn't have feelings. I mean, it's just so stupid. What the fuck is whether the brain, burns out its batteries or whether it it catches fire? How would that change anything? If the feelings don't matter, how can the brain catching fire make any difference? Oh, the brain didn't like it. So if my brain didn't like me being in pain, then it would be okay for me to say pain matters. It's because my brain didn't like it. So if I can get my brain to pop up a sign that says, I don't like it when Gary's in pain, then all of a sudden it matters whether I'm in pain. because the brain has approved it as a fact. I mean, it's too ridiculous.
In one as opposed to another. So where is the problem? We look for it and we do not find it.
Yeah, amazing. So he experiences it every day, the qualitative experience of having sensations that can be really quite obnoxious or quite pleasant. And yeah, the quite pleasant ones are a little bit rare, so we'll just say really obnoxious and very less obnoxious. All right, just a little bit irritating versus very irritating. And he's always vulnerable to extremely irritating. And he's going to try to convince me that doesn't prey on his mind at all. He's not at all worried about that because it all doesn't mean anything. Yeah, bullshit. I mean, you hate to say it. I mean, I hate to even say it. I mean, I've interacted with this guy for so many years, but it just makes me want to say, get what you fucking deserve, you scum. I mean, if it has to happen to somebody, let it happen to this fucker.
We go round and round again. Yeah, but
there's no arguing with complete lunatic, psychotic fucknuts who can't accept that it's really happening. Regardless of what brain did it or how it was done, it doesn't matter how it's being manifested. It doesn't matter what's manifesting it. The fucking thing exists, you fucking lunatic. So anyway, yes, yeah.
At Sierra, this dad does care about something.
Alright, should be back to the regular agenda of me. Yeah, instead of him. Okay, so let's see if I can say something as stupid as him, which, no, not going to happen. Alright, so in this part of the videos, some of it's on determinism. I said script reading, thought crimes, crime and punishment, reward, and what's the other thing? Punishment. Yeah, said that already. And some people make these arguments about you can't punish criminals because they are too stupid or whatever. They're too determined by their psychotic craziness to do better. So no point in punishing them. And the point is, well, there's no point in punishing the innocent. So if you're going to create deterrence, you have to punish somebody. It'd be really stupid to punish the innocent people for the crimes of the guilty. So, yeah. But, yes, the criminal justice system exists to create deterrence. That's what it's for, is deterrence, to prevent future crimes. That's its real and only function. Revenge really isn't part of it, but frankly, even if it had a component of revenge, I wouldn't say that would be all bad. So, if the parents of the murdered child want to beat the fucker to death, I would say, yeah, it's probably okay. It really might make them feel better. So, yeah, go ahead. Because the guilty deserve it anyway. It's not like they are completely innocent, in the sense that obviously to become the asshole, the complete motherfucking asshole, they had to jump over little bars that kept saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And they had to keep saying, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. So after the third or fourth fuck you, they should get fucked. Not a big crime against sensitivity. Okay, again, but I will make the argument, it really doesn't matter what brain is tortured. Torture is torture, so making more torture just isn't very clever. But making deterrence is. Deterrence is a smart thing to make. And you can only really do it by causing something bad to happen to bad people. It's on the ball or not, or do any of this stuff. It's all in the training. And we're trained by direct influences and indirect influences. So yeah, there's all those. So there was a little bit of nature and nurture in the conversation there too. So, the mystic said something stupid like it's 50-50 or something. And it's obviously, 99-1. The monsters are made. They're not born. It's people trying to train us, like our parents or the teacher. Jump ahead. Lies our behavior in many cases. And in a lot of cases where crimes are committed especially, we spend lots of times modeling our crime. And so there's no way that the criminals aren't perfectly aware, of the whole, I'm not doing unto others like I would like having done unto me. I mean, they're clearly saying fuck you to the simple logic, and clearly diminishing and dismissing, the imposition, of the negative they're imposing for their own benefit. And so, we're not talking about Robin Hoods here. We're not talking about somebody trying to fix an injustice. We're talking about people who think they're entitled when they aren't. Apology, Should a human being really be capable of accepting being a vampire? Oh, I'm going to parasitically steal other people's... I mean, it really doesn't take much brains to figure out, well, this doesn't make any sense. And what's the problem? Is the problem the people who aren't vampiring, or the vampires the problem? Because there's a problem, so which one do we have to get rid of? Oh yes, let's get rid of the vampires. Deterministic sense is they're reading the script, okay? They haven't had, it's like they didn't have access to the Flintstones or so yes, we're all reading a script. We're all just playing out the experiences we've had, and we're re-experiencing, using those experiences to modify our next experience and to try to do it better and better and try to move forward in our progression through our existence, using our experience to present better, to perform better. And, it's all determined. And while you're doing it, though, you're seeing the script. The script is saying, you're now going to be a complete motherfucking cunt asshole. Well, I should be able to say, oh, wait a minute. No, that's not the script I want to read. That's not hard to say. And if I'm reading that script, then, I'm just saying that they know. Again, you can't miss it. You can't miss when you're vampiring. Well, I mean, you can try to miss it, like the people eating meat and such. They can try to, the animals are really made out of gummy bears, and their sensations are just little squishy things. They're not very much feelings. We have big feelings, they have little tiny feelings. Some kind of rationalization to make excuses for committing overt crimes of torment and torture. Thing from happening by making the calculation unviable for the criminal. Obviously, we would all be... So that's the punishment deterrence part. You're saying, look, if I make it bad, the risk, then it is going to deter people. It's just a fact. I mean, you could prove the fact that you could deter people from even attempting to do something if you increase what's going to happen. You go from, I'm going to give you a pinch, to I'm going to break your leg, to I'm going to drive a nail through your ear, to, something, And the higher the risk, the higher the tightrope is above the ground, well, there's a certain point where you're not going to care, right? So we'll just go up to, say, 50 feet. But, each 10 feet of falling distance is going to impress you. And there's going to be fewer and fewer people who will take the risk once you've made the height high enough. And so it works. It's just a fact. It works. for causing future behavior in terms of us associating. So I did make another video to the mystic just about a simple model. I thought, well, maybe it would help if I just try to explain the mechanism, like some sort of physical rough diagram of how you might be able to create a sensitive brain, in the sense of how does it start making sensations. And as an afterthought, I thought, well, where did it first start? And it probably started with our senses. So, the first eyeball was probably like a piece of leather. It was probably really durable, and it could be smashed into things, and it didn't matter. But as the vision got clearer, as it needed to get more detail, it also became more vulnerable to being broken. So, and so it had to be protected. And so that's probably where it came from, feelings. Is that once we had a few senses, the sense organs needed protection. And you could argue that once we had skin, the skin needed protection. And the only way to make that work is to create something that happens fast and decisively, as like an ouch. So that part makes sense. But like, it's a feedback loop, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You're trying to shove too much through too small a pipe, and the sensation is the end result of that. Something mechanical like that is happening in our brain, and not giving people rewards. So again, I've argued that they could... So I will link, it's like a 10-minute video. I'll link to it. So if you want to watch it, it's an unlisted video. And I'm not, like I said, I've called it the dish of awareness, where all the sense data goes into your brain, and your brain can just create a fake sense. It can just shoot fake shit onto the screen. Really easy. Fix the whole educational system. Yeah, so that's the argument about, there's so many things that can be done so much better, because if we applied our intelligence and quit pretending that there's some huge conflict between the part of our brain that can think about an abstract model and put it together, do a puzzle, and it doesn't have to get all emotional about it, and it doesn't have to be a personal thing in any way. You're just saying what's the most efficient way to do something, blah, blah, blah. So our brain's very skilled at that, and yes, the other crap that percolates out of us, our little personal agenda and storytelling, just gets in the way. But you can spend a good deal of your life just doing the puzzling part, and I'd argue that's what I spent a good deal of my life doing. It doesn't have much to do with pursuing anything but a correct answer to a puzzle in a location. And it is creating a conscious event, an experience, and that all the other things have their individual experiences. And the fact is they have to add out. So yeah, that's all that matters in the end. I'm just saying there's nothing else happening here except brains manifesting feelings, and the rest of it is superfluous. It's just the stuff that can affect this outcome of how much torture was there and how much relief was there. And that's all that's going to matter. And so the simple equation is if we just quit having living things, you don't have to worry about justifying the torture. And there's no way to justify it all. Like I said, the biosphere is screaming every day for every bit of your, your existence. The 24 hours of a day that you exist, what has been paid for that existence in terms of a bunch of poor little critters, okay, living out futile existences, just squandering pain and suffering, living a few moments and dying horribly so you can live. I mean, it's, you're not worth it, fucker. And I don't think there's any evidence that being civilized is something that requires a genetic component. Okay, so that's the nature-nurture thing, obviously. I mean, you hate to say it, so, the golden rule thing. Do unto others as you have others do unto you. Do unto the future as you would have the past do unto you. It just is that simple. I mean, you know, pretend you're going to be one of the people living in the future. You know, statistically, there has to be people all the time dying of something. That these bad things that happen, you know, when you take in the whole world's population, there's a whole bunch of people having this shit. Yeah, so I think I was talking a little bit about again how my brain was attempting to model, explain, justify, defend, find perspective. And so it would imagine the price paid every day. People all across the world. How many people got run over today by a car? How many how many, you know, and my brain would try to figure all that out and say, what does this all add up to? And it could never make it add up to anything but horror. You know, no, this is crazy. What the hell? What am I doing on this fucking sadistic, loony planet? And so that didn't do my psychology any much good. That didn't do my little person who wanted to have an adventure. You know, I was like, no, I don't want to have an adventure. Fuck adventuring on this planet. Too dangerous. Yeah. And maybe somebody who's never had that kind of relationship with an animal. Oh, then I was talking about the cat. And, you know. So all of these little, you know, this is all the stuff that we attempt to apply intelligence to, you know, our emotional needs and gratifications and interactions, but a lot of them aren't very, we don't have enough time and we don't have enough patience, you know, to try to figure out what the best answer is most of the time, so then we just say, fuck you, you know, and, you know, I do that a little bit too frequently. Would say, I don't know what pain is, or I don't understand the difference, and it's all the same to me. I just can't imagine somebody saying those things. And being a feeling person, you know, it's just not possible to figure out how somebody can be honestly testifying that they don't see the cavern of value difference between, you know, torture and comfort. And you got to minimize it, or you can't make it. That's for sure. You can't make more of it. So, you know, the minimum you got to do is not make more. And you know, the best you can do is definitely reduce the amount the future will have to endure. Yeah. So there's no other hero's road. It's the only road to being a hero. Okay, is saving the future persons that would have been thrown into the quicksand if you didn't catch them or stop that from happening, prevent it, and you know, that's it. That's all there is. That's the easiest way to make money. Okay, make good person currency, to get hero rich, is to rescue future victims. Alright, so I think that's enough and such. You know, probably could add more, but there's a lot of, you know, very enough stuff in all of this. So, and yeah, I'm just kind of discouraged. It's just so difficult when intelligence goes bad. You know, you're just like, what's the fucking point? You do all this reasoning, all this puzzle solving, and then some asshole says it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter whether you solve the puzzle or don't solve the puzzle. It doesn't matter whether you do it right or do it wrong. I mean, you're just like, oh, come on. It's too ridiculous. Just too ridiculous. He's literally saying, if I was to make planets and just populate them with things, that brains, you know, plugged into jars or whatever, and I made brains that were experiencing horrific tortures, nail in the eye kind of tortures, and brains that are just enjoying cupcakes, you know, inside their brain. They don't really eat the cupcake, they're just experiencing it. It doesn't matter. I might as well just make either one. There's not even like a little bit of, all right, well, if yeah, we'll have the benefit of the doubt. He's so certain. I guess that's the part that's even wackier, right? So certain that he can't even give it the benefit of the doubt that, well, yeah, I suppose if there's nothing else to occupy your time, that's probably a good enough thing to recognize the distinction and not make the brains that are in torture. Yeah, it's probably a good idea not to make torture brains and just make cupcake brains. He won't even say that. Fucking asshole. Oh, God. It's so irritating. I mean, after all these years and all this bullshit, to just come to a, you know, it's just no point in negotiating, because it just has to be a shootout at the end. You know, it's a good guy, bad guy. You know, hopefully the good guys win, and the bad guys are smited. Anyway, till the next time, and such and so forth, and whatnot. Depressing.